In one of the most intense displays of counter-attacking precision, Chelsea crushed Real Betis in the UEFA Champions League just within the game's final 25 minutes. But it wasn't just mere brilliance from the Blues, it was a complete collapse of Betis' defensive structure. Today we analyze how Chelsea capitalized on poor positioning, lack of communication, and defensive hesitation to score 3 decisive goals. Let's get into it. Let's start with Chelsea's first goal. Cole Palmer receives the ball in the final third. Betis defender Sabaly is initially in a decent position. He's watching the play and tracking Enzo Fernández. But here's where he made a mistake. Sabaly suddenly slows down and shifts his focus entirely to the ball, losing his focus on Enzo. He stops watching Enzo, while Enzo, obviously driven, takes the golden opportunity. Why would he stop, right? Here's what Sabaly could have done. Sabaly should have kept Enzo behind him and cut off the passing lane, but instead he allows Enzo to run past. Now Palmer, upon spotting the opportunity, threads a smart ball through and Enzo finishes with ease. This is an example of poor defensive awareness. Ball watching instead of man marking is inexcusable, especially at the Champions League level. Okay, let's move to the second goal, another moment of very poor decision-making. Marc Bartra is initially tight on Nicholas Jackson. He is tracking him well, until he isn't. Bartra assumes Palmer will send the ball wide to Reece James, so he shifts his body away from the danger zone and moves out of the box. He became complacent. But as a brilliant Chelsea player who is quick to assess the situation and positioning of his opponents, Palmer is quick to decide the best strategy. He cuts left and Jackson makes his run forward. Now here's the problem. Bartra loses spatial awareness. Meanwhile, Johnny's back is turned to Jackson and he fails to cover. Bakambu and Perraud are ball watching and failing to press in on their opponent. As a result, Jackson receives the pass and scores their second goal. This mistake is another avoidable one and a clear example of poor communication and slow recovery by Real Betis. The third goal by Jadon Sancho showcases what happens when defensive lines fail to communicate and coordinate. Johnny makes the wrong positional choice. He stays behind Sabaly instead of moving to the left to create a defensive wall with Bartra and Sabaly. What is he doing there? He has no business going further because Sabaly is already blocking Sancho's way. Sancho is in a 1v1, but it could have been a 3v1. Johnny seems to assume Bartra will rotate to cover, but Bartra doesn't. Sabaly waits for help. No one steps up. No one seems to be paying attention with one another's positioning, and Sancho easily flips the ball to the open side and scores. Again, lack of verbal cues, lack of awareness, and very slow response. You cannot defend at this level if 3 defenders don't communicate under pressure. Now for the fourth and final goal, let's talk about Moisés Caicedo. This goal doesn't start with brilliance, it starts with lazy tracking. Caicedo passes the ball, and his marker, Antony, immediately relaxes and stops running, a very unusual demeanor from Antony. It is as if he lost all hope. Caicedo makes a sharp off-ball movement. No one picks him up, but he keeps his drive and focus. He maintains his pace. Then Enzo spots the open space around Caicedo and plays a clever pass between 2 Betis defenders. Caicedo, unmarked, shots the final score. In football, players who make the initial pass are still dangerous. Switching off after the pass is a deadly habit, and Betis paid the price again. So what went wrong for Real Betis? First is the lack of communication, defenders assuming instead of talking. Second, they prioritized ball watching rather than marking. Third, they had a lot of positional mistakes. Lastly, they failed to recover after initial passes, which is a tactical blind spot. Meanwhile, Chelsea did right by off-ball runs. Their intelligent decision-making, quick registration of defensive gaps, and ruthless exploitation of space allowed them to win the finals. This match wasn't just a win for Chelsea, it was a tactical showcase on how to take advantage of the defensive disarray. And for Betis, it's a harsh lesson in how minor errors lead to major consequences in elite football. What do you think? Was this match an all-too-easy win? Drop your comments below and don't forget to like and subscribe for more tactical breakdowns.